Father's Day today, but the work never stops, does it? And I've got to make a video. Bruce Gilden, have you heard of him? Do you know who he is? Pretty good.
Nigga, I don't know you. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bruce Gilden, a bit of a legend, I think. And just my opinion, obviously. You can go and Google him, you can look at his work and see what he's all about. From Brooklyn, New York originally. He's been in the Magnum photo industry for a while now. His work is pretty in your face. I use the word graphic. It's not graphic, it is to a certain extent. It's raw graphic, warts and all. What you see is what you get. But it's really, really nice. So does a massive range of works, all like reportage, documentary, lifestyle, but in the sort of the gritty sense. Very well known for doing a lot of street photography with flash and just like running up to people. There's quite a few documentaries which you can watch, and just running up to people, bang, flash, and sort of getting their reaction. And I know there was, I can't remember his name, there was a guy, I think it was in Japan, who was doing that in Fuji, and then he was like struck off from the Fuji ambassador or something, because he was literally sort of being really aggravating to people to get these sort of reactions in the street. And Bruce Gilden hasn't been actually like penalised for that, but that's what he does in theory, because he's obviously been doing it since forever. But yeah, people are walking past and he'll just turn around and go bang, and you know, they're sort of like, whoa. So, but it's good, it makes good, you know, good imagery. There's just everything from streets, nights out. He's been in England. He did he's got a book called, I can't remember what it's called. It's not the Midlands, it's the Black Country, but it's based around the Midlands, and it's sort of what looks to be down and outs and stuff, but it's really just in your face. It's very of its time of just capturing what's there. But yeah, he's got some fantastic work. There's probably some stuff which a lot of people don't like, but it's a good person's work to look at. I think that his sort of methodology and the way that he constructs a narrative and his direction is really good. And that's not in the context of like he's contriving these images and he's like dealing, obviously some he deals with people and he's talking to them, but like the most is just off the cuff. And so it's the direction and the narrative of how he obviously shoots all the work, and then he goes back and then lays it out and works through it, and you know, goes through it, and you know, what's this telling me, what's this about, what's this showcasing. And he's very methodical about that. And this is obviously from just stuff that I've seen on the internet, any YouTube work, any interviews, that sort of thing. I'm not saying like I'm the sort of, you know, I'm going to write a biography about him as such or anything like that. But I think that just his style, and again, going back to my last video about like the retouching and stuff, I quite like he's very in your face. He did a program, I don't know if it was like the Master of Photography or something like that. He did one program anyway, and he was really brutal. But I really liked it. And again, it was just sort of, he was, you know, what's this? What's it showing me? And there were a couple of images which they really didn't necessarily have any context, but he was like, yeah, I just really like this. I like the juxtaposition about this. And it was really good, but you could just see how it works. And again, that's key to it. So it didn't necessarily have to showcase anything, but it was just how like the colors and everything, the composition just worked. But yeah, his work, you can see it in the background here, is just really, really good. And I think it's like one of those artists again which you can watch and look at the work and you sort of just pick something out every time. Obviously the work is all orchestrated, so it's only like his best work, but you can go through it and it's just like beautifully laid out. You know, a lot of it's like film photography from back in the day, like the 80s and so on, but yet just another person worth watching and seeing how he as a person has got that passion and drive to get to where he is, which wasn't necessarily, I don't think, something which he was like, oh, I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be working for Magnum, or, you know, that sort of thing, because it's not. But his just passion and what he delivers, and he obviously has got time to go through his work, and it is just absolutely amazing. And I remember when I first started, I came across him accidentally, and again at the start I didn't appreciate it, or I didn't look at it and think there was anything to it as such. I just thought, oh, you know, it's just snaps, because things like the lines weren't straight, like on the rise and that sort of thing, was with some of the bits and bobs. And in my mind, as you do, because you think you're better than you are, and you look at some of these people and you just think, well, what's so good about them? You know, it's just a person in the street that's taken a shot. But as I've gone on and I've bought a handful of his books, which I like, haven't got them all, and I've grown as a photographer, and what I like and what I don't like, and the things which are commercially viable and the things which aren't, you know, so it sort of shaped my opinion. But I've grown to really like his work, and there's lots of other photographers that are very similar to him. I wouldn't say, I think some, again, this is my opinion, but I think some people think like, yeah, he's like a one-off. Well, there's lots of people, because that sort of emulate his work, or they don't even emulate it, because we all do. Everything's sort of been done to a certain extent now, so it's just about sort of showcasing like your ability and that sort of thing. So lots of people are doing his sort of work, and there's lots of other photographers which are sort of similar. There's like Parr and, you know, the rest of them, they're all sort of that ilk. But it's just really, really nice, and it's something which I've grown to love. And I think if you're at a stage where you're sort of transitioning with your work, especially if you're doing sort of street photography and like reportage, and you've got like a project of this sort of storyline, you know, sort of like if you're photographing a family like who are on the street, or I think like his work is just worth looking at, because you can sort of get so much inspiration, and you know, it's absolutely beautiful. And the one thing I did take from his work, which has been sort of a backbone of what I've done moving forward, especially as I got better and got more clients, is, if you notice, because he's quite intrusive with some of his shots, he's not scared. He really does not care. You can just see that he goes in, gets the shot. Especially in some of the documentaries, you can see some people aren't too pleased, but he is not scared. He will get the shot. He will, you know, he's not scared putting on wide lens, going in really tight, and getting in someone's space sort of thing. And I'm not saying go and do that all the time, but it really shows in his photography what he's willing to do to get the shot. And I know that can be jarring to some people, but I think like in this day and age where if you're really passionate about something, you're trying to showcase something, you've got to step on some toes. And I think from all his imagery, he is not afraid. You can really see that in all the work he does. Anyway, it's Father's Day. People need to get back to their families. But I just thought I'd talk about this, because he's somebody I really, really look up to. And I think, you know, he's someone I go back to sort of reevaluate, reset, and think, yeah, this can be done. I'll see you next time.